So hope you guys can see my screen. A yes or no would help.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes, yes.
Great, 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 great. Okay.
Okay. So, as we did last week, we would keep the conversation as interactive as possible. So, since you are not going to ask us questions, I put together again questions in between slides. Start assessing which to start assess what you understand, where you are, and how each of this can really help you in terms of going forward. Okay. So let me start with this question. Uh, if your product disappears tomorrow, what would your customers truly miss? You can send it on the chat. Okay, is that features, outcomes, nothing, or some brand experience or UI? Outcomes. Okay, they would have direct and business and financial loss. Wow. Okay. Okay. So if your product is aligned to their needs, yes, they would lose business. They would have some financial implications as well. Okay. Track what their sales staff talking on calls. Oh man, how will I save the cost now? Okay. Okay. So today's conversation is mostly to understand if our products can we leave an impact if we don't exist with our customers. So if we have to leave an impact, what is that we should be looking at? What is that we should be understanding about is what today's conversation is all about. The first part of the conversation. Okay. So the answer for this is if there is a clean outcome that you are able to articulate, that you are able to let your customers know about, then that is what they're going to miss. This outcome can mean anything. It can be a loss in revenue. It can be cost saving, missing cost saving, or missing brand experience, or an experience with their customers. So today we would be talking about something called as a value proposition canvas, and probably some of you might have heard of it. Some of you might have not heard about it. We'll try to we're not going to do a big deep dive provided the time, but at least I'll try to provide as much information as possible within the time. No. How many of you have heard of this thing called value proposition canvas? Yes, no, maybe we'll do. Fine. So have you heard of something called as a business model canvas? Okay. So this is one of the important derivatives that came out of business model canvas, which I also have a couple of slides on that as well. The whole idea is the two important blocks of business model canvas is broken down into a new canvas called value proposition canvas. Every time whenever a company starts, a product begins, or a startup founder starts his company, we all start with a big promise saying that, okay, we will deliver some value to a customer. But most of the times, we won't even have time to sit down and define that promise very clearly. Today, I would request everybody to be on mute so that the others can hear this properly. So today we're going to explore the value proposition canvas, which is one of the simplest yet very powerful tool for designing products that customers genuinely want, so that they can feel if you are missing in the market. Okay. Think of it like a compass for navigating your customer needs. Okay. Which statement best describes what customers really buy from you? I've gave you some options as well: tech features, better future state, a vision, or a story. Okay, better future state. I think that is what all of us are looking to achieve as well. I'm glad that at least we've passed that stage of not selling features anymore. So if we're able to at least identify the problem, that itself is 50% of the result. Yes, we are looking at selling a better future state to our customers so that they can prosper and they can move forward. So here's something many teams forget. A product on its own means nothing. WhatsApp without customers is nothing. There were so many tools. Even there was a tool Aratai which was launched in India by Zoho. They cannot exist in silos. There are hundreds of when India banned Chinese apps in the country. There were hundreds of apps that were banned, and there was so much of vacuum that got created. And there were so many companies who tried launching them, but none of them succeeded because they were not able to capture the customer. The product on its own means nothing for us, but a customer on their own means a lot. Value, we can have a value if there is a meaningful connection between these two. Oh, and that connection needs to be designed. That cannot be assumed. That is what we are trying to understand, debate, and discuss in today's presentation. Yeah. So here's my next question. So if a startup is building without customer insight, what are they really doing? So innovating bravely, very good. I see a lot of mindset is being aligned towards delivering value, aligned towards what is good. Okay. So the answer for this question is they're trying to conduct a very expensive experiment, and that too blindly. Okay. If they don't really have customer insights. So, but the hard truth is connecting your product to a real customer needs isn't easy. Okay. Understanding customer is hard because the world is very noisy. People behave very unpredictably, and it's easy to make a lot of assumptions. So we would need a mechanism or a framework to help us do this in a very good fashion. So what destroys more startups than competition ever could is that building slowly, hiring the wrong people, misalignment about what customer value is, and choosing the wrong tech. And I'm so happy people are kind of spot on in terms of providing their views, which are kind of aligned with the challenges and the issues. Yes, the number one mistake most of the startups do, most of the founders do, is build something nobody wants. That's one of the biggest mistake companies are doing these days. And that's the biggest killer. It is not the competition. Founders, including myself, we all fall in love with ideas, features, innovations, but our customers only love with real situations to real problems. If there is a situation and if there's a solution available to that particular problem, that is when they look at that too within a given context. Now, that's the gap between what we think customer want and what they actually want is where the failure happens. Just be very, I would repeat the statement again. The gap is what we think customer want versus what they actually want. It is this where most of the times failure happens. So what are the reasons for this? Why does this failure happens? Again, so inside teams within the organization, whether you're a 5 people team or a 50 people team or a 100 people team, we speak different languages. Marketing talks about persona, engineering teams talk about requirements, founders talk about vision. There's a lot of mismatch, and this mismatch creates confusion and wasted time and resources, unproductive meetings, and eventually we build a product that does not resonate well with customers. What we need right now is not more ideas, but a mere simple clarity about who is our customer, what they struggle with, what outcomes they dream for. The value proposition canvas gives us that simple clarity. So a quick intro to business model canvas. This business model canvas was created by a company called Stratagen by Alex Osterwalder. What it does is within a single page, you'll be able to put together your entire business plan. It includes 9 simple blocks. It starts with value proposition as to what you're offering, the value that you're offering to your target customers, which is called customer segments. How do you reach them? What kind of customer support that you would offer? And in turn, what is the revenue that you're making? This is more on the front side. On the back side, what are all the key activities that you need to do in order to achieve the value proposition? What kind of resources are required? What kind of partners you would need? And which would put together into a cost structure. Now, inside this entire business model canvas, the most 2 important blocks are your customer segment and the value proposition you're going to offer. If these 2 are weak or unclear, the entire business model collapses. So just in case if some of you haven't had a chance to look at business model canvas, I would recommend you to go. So I would request you guys to go and look at what business model canvas is. That will give you some clarity, and probably in case if you have any questions, I'm available on LinkedIn, WhatsApp. Our team is available on the group as well. So somebody would respond to you and guide you to resources. If product market fit is a lock and key, what do you think the key represents? Is that your brand, marketing strategy, a value map, or a founder story? Good. And by the end of these slides, I guess we would have created a lot of ambassadors who can really go ahead and talk about their experiences and start enabling other founders as to how they need to look at product building, how they need to look at go-to-market as such. Yes, you are absolutely right. The value map is the most important. That's the key for the lock. So the customer profile, that is the real world. That is where people are trying to get jobs done, get things done for them. Okay. They're not bothered about what you sell or what you offer. They are only looking to ensure that they get their life better. They get their things done. For them, it doesn't matter what technology you use, what resources that you are spending on, what kind of marketing that you do, till the time that it doesn't match them with getting their job done. On the other side, the value map is your world, is our world on how you can help them to get their jobs done. The true product market fit happens when these 2 align, when value meets the customer needs. This is something that I want you guys to really understand and keep this in mind this week so that we can go back and look at some of the steps. So value proposition canvas is like a translation between your world and the customer world. It forces you to articulate the customer's reality first before your product logic is complete. That shift alone changes everything. So in some of the conversations that we had in this cohort and previous cohorts, are also a lot of people keep building products without even looking or talking to any of their customers. Yes, they might have got some sense of what the problem is from their previous experiences, but that alone is not going to help them. You really need to understand and appreciate what are customer needs. Even if there is one place where at least I would point you guys to start, then this is it as value proposition canvas. So this canvas has two parts. On the right hand side is the customer profile, where we talk about what are the jobs that they're trying to get done, what kind of pains that they currently have, if the job is not done properly, and what kind of outcomes or gains they normally expect if the job is done perfectly. Okay. On the left hand side, this is the value map, which is your world, the founder world, the product world, where uh, where you describe what is your product, what kind of pain relievers you have, what kind of gain creators that you have. Okay. Our job today, and probably for some of you later this week as well, job is to make these two sides match meaningfully. Customer, as I said, customers don't think in features. They think in what they want to get done, pains they want to eliminate, gains they want to achieve. Products don't simply win by existing, they win by relieving pains and creating meaningful gains. It need not happen in one single cycle. First, you put together a value proposition canvas, you test it, you iterate it, you refine it, and then you keep doing that again and again. Eventually, you'd get that one perfect value proposition canvas, which you can start utilizing. So, before we can understand customers, we must describe which customer. Segmentation helps us avoid designing for everyone. So the narrower the segment you are, the sharper your insights becomes. So first, you can define some of your segments. So probably if you can type in what kind of, if you have to pick one customer, right now I'm talking about end user. I'm not even talking about, there are multiple categories within the customers, but right now for the discussion, I'm talking about an end user. If you have to pick that one end user, who would that end user for your products? You can just type it on the chat. If you're not sure, you can say not sure.
Sorry, what's the question, Bharat? From this, what we have to arrive?
So the question was, who is your end user for your product? The number one end user who is going to benefit by using your product. So farmer, online businesses, manufacturing, engineering business owner, founders and CXOs of the hospitals, employees and business owner of HR heads. Good. Let's get to our next question. What is the risk of not defining your customer segment tightly? Okay. So I've seen some focus. We're only looking at the exact fit. Okay. Yes. Again, most of you are correct, but some of you, the answers that I've seen, there's nothing wrong. These segments that you have defined are way too broad. Probably we need to go back and see how we can shrink it so that you can offer a more specific product to the customers. The answer for this question is you build a generic product for nobody. Okay. When you're building platforms, especially when you're building products which are solving a lot of problems, then you end up building it for nobody. This is a hard lesson that we've learned it as well, because we get carried away with all the innovation, all the crazy technology that's available with us, and what can be done with that. So the next few slides, we would take a specific case and then do this entire exercise so that you can start appreciating how you can apply this for your own need. Okay. Stop me any point in time. I'll be happy to answer any questions to the extent possible. Okay. Okay, so now we have taken an example of a customer segment, a taxi passenger in London or UK. We are now able to observe some specific behaviors, needs, pains that matter. consider yourself as a taxi passengers. What are those jobs that you want to get done? Forget about Ola, Uber for a minute. If you are going to be a taxi passenger, what are those jobs that you want to get done? It can be one, it can be two. How many your number? Okay, so let me give you a quick view. So you'll call a taxi, you'll try to find a taxi, you give directions, you pay. So this is are some of the jobs that you would do. Now, these jobs might look very simple, but understanding them deeply is the foundation of value creation. Okay. This is where you need to understand, dig deeper into it, get a clarity on what are those customer jobs, what is that customers are looking at. Forget about whether you are addressing them or not, whether your product solves them or not. For now, we are only worried about on the customer world. As a customer, what do you think their jobs are? How? Say there's another quick question. If a customer has 10 pains, why do only 2 or 3 matter for product success? Yeah. So because only a few pains influence buying decision, not every pain would help them in terms of a buying decision. So it is very important for us to solve those pain points which matter the most, without which they cannot exist. If that is not the number one pain point that you're solving, forget it. There's nobody who's it is the must to have pain point that we have to solve. Otherwise, people will look, they're happy to be with that problem for a while. They don't want your product, or they don't think the price is good enough or the effort is good enough to solve that nice to have pain point. So this is where the frustration comes from a customer standpoint, because he's a taxi passenger, long waiting times, unsafe drivers, overcharging, competing with others for taxis. These are some of the pains or frictions they experience during the transaction. And wherever you can identify a friction, wherever you find the pain to be very more, that is where you can build an opportunity. That is where the opportunity is also. Okay. So if this job is done well, what kind of outcomes do they expect? So they expect easier payments, a fair price, professionalism with the drivers, being very punctual. Okay. Gains show how utopian world might look like. Okay, how great it looks like if they solve that particular problems. So see if your customers, if you can map some of these to your existing customers. Pick one customer, narrow down, pick it up for one customer, put together what are the jobs that they're looking to get done. Okay. Don't worry about too many details. There are a lot of details within each of this, but we're not going to get into that in this cohort. So look at their jobs, look at their pain points, look at what they can achieve as an end user. Yeah. Okay. So here's, I guess we've covered this question, so I'll skip. So it is not only important for us to list the jobs, pains, and gains, but it is also equally important for us to understand and rank them as well. What is important versus what is insignificant, so that you exactly know how you can prioritize your roadmap, how you can prioritize your communication with the customer. Okay. So here is how it looks like when I ranked it from top to bottom. Waiting long time is the biggest pain versus having an unsafe driver. Maybe for some people it is also a bigger pain, but for most of them, being overcharged is the second biggest pain point. Okay. So in the last few slides, within 5 simple steps, we were able to narrow down to a customer segment, identify what jobs they are doing, identify what are their pain areas, identified what kind of gains that they're looking at, and also prioritize them as well. Okay. So you can now, this simple 5 steps can give you a tremendous amount of knowledge about what you need to build, how you need to communicate, how to get your product market fit right. What percentage of your product roadmap do you think should map directly to top customer pains? 20%, 40, 60, 80 plus. Okay, 60 out of 60s. But the truth is you have to map it 80% or more. Okay. So this is on the customer side of the story. Okay, where we try to understand how their world works, what are the jobs that they're trying to get done, what are the pains and what are the gains that they're looking to get done. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them before we get to the product part or the value part. You can type it on the chat or you can speak out, whichever. I'm fine. Okay, let's since most of you are very clear with what we've discussed so far, let's move on to the next portion, which is the value part, which is what your world is. I'm slightly not clear about pain relievers. Okay, so we would get to the pain relievers part in the product side or on the value side. We are only talking about pains from customer side. We'll get to the pain relievers part shortly. Okay. So now we map all the features, all the things that customer is looking at. So we're talking about a taxi app like Uber or Ola, which most of us have used. Okay. So this need not be one single offering or a product or a service. It can be a bundle of things as well. No? Which is what we're trying to mention. That's the value that you are trying to bring in. A taxi smartphone app. Okay. So these are what we call as a pain relievers. So we directly map it to some of the problems that they had using the product that we are building. Okay. This is where we're trying to show some kind of empathy in action. So we said, okay, instant booking, which directly solves their wait time. Assigned drivers, which directly solves their safety issue. Digital payments, which directly solves the cash issues. Okay. So this is how we map pain relievers. Whatever pain that you have, can I solve some of the pain points from the features, functionality, offerings that you are providing as a product or as a service. So this can only happen if you really know what the pains that they currently have, are currently undergoing. So what differentiates category leader from average products? Yes. I guess a lot of you, it's quite amazing to see most of you answering rightly. Yes, their ability to create a meaningful customer gains is what we are looking at. Okay. That's what a product leader differentiates from an average product. So now let us look at the last section of this, which is what? Gain creators. So this gain creators here, we're talking about saving time, professional drivers, visual maps, a rating system to see which driver works better. Okay. These are moments that turn our service into something very delightful. This is where we give them a very unique, start giving them a very unique experience. Okay. So these are called game creators, which is what we would map it to games on the customer side of the story. Again, as we did earlier, we would rank them based on what is important, so that we're not worried about what needs to be built first, what needs to be built next. Okay. Now we're putting together how both of this can be mapped. Okay. So value map, you do simple 4-step. You put your product first and then outline the pain relievers and list all the game creators that you have, and then rank them in an order. So this will give you a value map summary. Okay, what is that value that you're offering? Is that value good enough for the customer or not? Okay. So what is the first sign when you're building something you think people actually want this? Is that the traffic, investor calls, teams? Great. Again, spot on. Customers change their behavior because of your product. That's the most important thing that we'll be able to get, what you're doing is very right. Okay. So we looked at the customer part of the story. Then we also looked at the value part of the story, which is our world, which is the startup or the founder world. Now let's see how we can map each of these. Okay. So now I start mapping each of these components. So we started with jobs. Then we said, okay, so these are pains, long wait times, overcharged by taxis, compete with other customers. So then on the pain reliever side, we've listed down a few things: instant booking, which is directly mapped to one of the pains; assigned drivers, which is mapped again to another pain point; no cash, there is no big pain point for them, so it is not going to be one of your most important features that you want to build. Okay. So look at what fits, look at what is important rather than what is easy to build. That is the important part, what we need to understand. Okay. So this will also help you to avoid certain assumptions as well. Okay, this will save us from building things which are not required right now. So you might have seen this in different formats. The adlib, the one sentence statement that you can put together. So now from the value proposition, this is how you can map it. Okay. So R dash, which is the product or the service that you're offering, helps the customer that you're looking at, who want to, what job that they're looking to get done, by reducing what and increasing what, unlike your competitors. Okay. So this is a statement that you might have heard of, you might have seen. This is how it can really help you in terms of taking it forward. Okay. So if any one of you want, we can do a small exercise for you for one of your customer segment together. Otherwise, we can keep moving. Okay, fine. So this is the quick summary. The value proposition canvas is probably one of the most important tool that you as a founder should utilize. And this will give you the structure and also at times the recipe for building the product market fit and eventually success. It will help you understand, map, validate, and refine your entire cycle. Okay.
Bharat, I missed the exercise. So, I mean, if it still is got time, I'd be happy if you want to do the exercise with us.
Sure. If okay. We can see how quickly we can do that. Then, what does your company offer? Who is the customers that you're looking at? Who is the customer that you're looking at, Debashish?
So company owners, HR, they buy the service, and the end users are employees.
End users are employees. Okay. And what jobs they are looking to get done?
Get money without debt.
Okay. Let me see. Probably if you can do a quick 1 minute overview of your product, let's see if others can also contribute.
Yeah, sure. So we offer a product solution where employees don't need to take salary advance, and by the method of group pull-in by rotation on application, they get the money every month. So it saves the employee to repay the salary advance, and it saves the company the working capital drain. And all of this is done through a technology app. Yeah.
Okay. So let's first list your customers are employees working in a specific industry, right?
Yeah, any industry, employees in any industry. Yeah.
Okay. What are the jobs that they're looking to get done?
Are you sharing a screen, Bharat? Because we're not able to see it.
No. I'm not. I'm just trying to see what others add so that I can share it at the end.
So I have already answered the question of this job part. You want me to answer again, Bharat?
Yeah, please.
I said that the job they want to get it done through this is get the money on time without any debt.
Debashish, I have a question, if I may. So, between the company giving a salary advance and you, as a company, pooling the money and giving it to a particular employee, wouldn't they still need to make the payment back to your company?
No, they don't have to make any payment to us or even to the employer. They pool in the money and get everybody gets the money by rotation. We only take the subscription charge, the user charge, which is not dependent upon the amount of money generated. So let's say there are 12 employees, they all pool in every month 1,000 rupees. The amount corpus is 12,000 rupees.
Devashish, thank you. I think probably we can ask this question to some of the group members as well, irrespective of what you offer. Let's forget it for a while. We'll discuss that. What is that you're offering at a later point? In terms of jobs as an employee, I'm looking to get money to address cash run situations.
Yeah, my month end expenses or anything which is a minor expense for which I would have taken a salary advance. So I don't need to take a salary advance.
No. So that's the only job that they're looking to get done. Anything else?
No, from an employee point of view, that's it. Yeah, obviously there are. I mean, it gives them happiness, morale, etc. But we're not talking about that.
Yeah, we're just looking at the functional part.
Yeah, keeping it very simple and focused. Yeah.
Yeah. So one, it is month end. Can I call this as ad hoc expenses all put together?
Yeah, anything ad hoc, emergency expenses, whatever.
Okay. So this is the only job that you are trying to get done, right?
Yeah, the most significant one, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's one is better than getting ourselves confused with a lot of them. So what if the employee is not able to raise or get money for his ad hoc expenses? What will happen? What are the pains that they might go through?
Not able to generate through us, right?
No. I'm not talking about you at all. So you and I are employees. So I have an emergency expense. If I don't get the job done, what is the pain that I might end up going through?
Financial stress because I will borrow the money from somewhere. Secondly, demotivation of not being able to do that particular thing. And obviously, it will create stress and lower motivation to work.
So if I'm able to achieve this, what kind of gains that I might have? Or what kind of outcomes that I can expect if I'm able to address my emergency expenses?
Debt-free life, dignity of life, and higher state of well-being, less stress.
Okay. So on the job side, we are looking at an employee trying to address an ad hoc or an emergency expense. That's a functional job that he's trying to get done. Okay. So if he is not able to get that stuff done, he might get demotivated, or he might get some financial stress. That's a pain point that you have mentioned. In terms of gains, we're looking at employee being a debt-free, less stress, and probably there's no reduction in dignity. So some of these gains and pains that you're talking about, they can be aligned more towards social or emotional jobs, but not the functional jobs, is what I feel right now. Okay. Let's see how we can map this together. From your product standpoint, so you're offering. So what are you offering?
We are offering 10x debt-free money within 30 days to employees in a safe environment.
You're offering a platform
through which employees can get 10 times debt-free money along with the salary.
That's a gain creator that you would have. Your platform is to enable people to save money, save and withdraw. Can I say?
Deposit and get money, yeah.
Okay. So what are the pain relievers that you would have?
Debt-free money.
Okay, we just I think we're just repeating there itself. But these pains have become. It's not like a chit fund. It's probably like a self-help group, but it is not managed by anybody. It is within the company. People can. The only advantage being company offers a security. If somebody leaves in between, company will withhold the salary, and then whatever needs to be provided, that they would offer that. It's an employee pool. Yeah. Okay. It's, yeah, as Debashish pointed out, it is not a chick fund. Debashish, let me think through a little, see how we can put together these things little more clearly. Then I'll come back to you. What can be done?
Sure.
Well, thanks for volunteering. And since Debashish has asked, I'm going to do his exercise, but others, they have to do their own exercise. So if you have to design your product from scratch using only top 3 customer pain points, what would remain? Which features matters? What features are noisy? Whether the product is truly customer aligned or not? I would request you guys to prepare a very short note about what you're doing. Put together the value proposition canvas for 1 or 2 customers, and see how clearly you can differentiate. Once you do that exercise, we'll be there with you to fine tune and realign. Whoever can submit those exercises over the email, or probably you can drop it on the WhatsApp chat as well, whichever is easy. You can do that. Okay. So with this, we end our first portion of today's webinar, where we almost took about an hour or so far, where we spoke about what is the best way to put together the product market fit using value proposition canvas. Fine. We'll take a short break here, probably for 5 minutes. Then we'll come back and get to the next topic, which is the data model. Fine. Is that okay?
Yes, Bharat, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Let's get started with the next portion. So for some of you who have not were able to join last week's webinar, we discussed an interesting model called as GTM motion, which predominantly talks about how you need to look at your marketing, sales, and customer success based on the type of customers you're dealing with and the price point at which you set. So today, as an extension to that, we would look at one of the foundational model, what we call as a data model. Okay, all of you. So if I have to ask you one single question, what is that you're expecting if you fix your GTM? What would that be? Is that increase in revenue, better leads? What is that you're expecting if you solve your GTM problem? More customers? You can just answer that on the chat before revenue, market reach. Okay, so this would help you to decipher some of these thoughts. Okay, so data model is one of those 6 models that we've described in the first week. So this acts as the most important backbone for our GTM engine. Okay. Reason being, it helps us in terms of measuring what kind of value we are delivering, what kind of impact is being created, and how the journey is happening from a customer standpoint. This model let us see where revenue is created, where it is leaking, so that we can really fix them. If some of you might have heard of this whole term called as AIDA, AIDA, which stands for awareness, interest, desire, and action. This is one of the very oldest marketing model that was designed, and even now people use that a lot, which is built for one-time transactions. And there is no feedback into the system as to why you are losing customers, how you can improve that, what is happening in the onboarding journey, what is happening with the retention journey. There is no feedback that gets created. So as we also discussed in a SaaS model or in a consumption model, where most of the companies are heading towards, the onus lies on us instead of a buyer. So the more impact, the more value that we deliver to customer is when they would stick to us. Okay. So if you look at the 3 smaller images on this chart, on a ownership, it completely tilts on the marketing portion and some on the sales. But on a subscription model, both are same. You need to have significant amount of effort in marketing, sales, and also customer success. But in a consumption model, it is the customer success which matters the most. So we are, as time and again we spoke about, we are heading towards more customer-centric models than seller-centric models. So like the previous week, here we are looking at few elements to measure on how we need to look at. There are 3 things that we're trying to measure as part of GTM metrics. So one being the volume metrics. It either measures the quantity of leads, deals that we are making, or the amount of money that we make in dollars or in the currencies. Second, we look at conversion metrics. Okay, how many leads that we're getting at different stages? How many of them are really getting converted? What is the conversion ratio? So that we can clearly understand where it is failing. And the third and most important one was in terms of time. How much time does it take to move a customer from one stage to another stage? No. So this is some of these might not be very relevant for you at this point in time, but having these basics and building systems around these basics will really help you. Now, in last week's conversation, there were only two metrics that we spoke about: the annual contract value and the number of customers. Those were the outcomes that we were looking at. Now, and these three metrics would actually act as more from an input standpoint on how to derive some of them. Okay. So if you have any questions, this is kind of very dry, but very important. If you have any questions, please stop me any point in time. So if you look at the bow tie, which is what the model that we're trying to follow, the first two stages, awareness and education, they are more in terms of marketing. Then your prioritization, the selection, and a commit from the customer side. That's where the sales will happen. And from there, onboarding, retention, and expansion, this is more on the customer success standpoint. At each stage, we put together few numbers, VM1, VM2, till VM9. These are called volume metrics. In the first, before the commit happens, we measure in terms of numbers. Once the customer is onboarded, then we measure in terms of revenue as to how much we are able to make. Why we follow this is in each model, there are different kinds of metrics that we look at. Somebody says MQL, somebody says PQL, some other a model people will call differently. So for you to understand and bring all of this together, having one single metric or a dimension would always help so that you can map it to any kind of system. Just to give you a run through. So VM1, we're talking about match to the target profiles based on situation, pain, and impact potential. These we are calling them as prospects. So VM2, we're calling them as marketing qualified leads. VM3, we're calling them as sales qualified leads. VM4, we're calling it as sales accepted leads. VM5, once we have this win, then we're calling them as wins. Okay. Then similarly, till VM9, we have once the revenue is committed, it's called monthly recurring revenue committed or revenue committed in case if you don't have a recurring revenue. Then VM7 is for start and VM8 is for monthly recurring revenue continuing and VM9 is for the lifetime value. So these are some of the numbers to look at. Why we have put together so many blocks is all of us needs, as you were mentioning it on the chat as well just now. So we're looking at more leads, we're looking at high intent leads, we're looking at market reach, we're looking at revenue. So this is a broader outcome to achieve. And when you try, and we don't have any clue as to what stage it is failing, what stage we need to improve on. So we've divided the whole system into smaller subsystems. If you look at a mutual commit as revenue, there are 4 stages before. There are 4 subsystems before. So what are you doing with awareness? How many people are you able to attract? How many of them are really able to move from an awareness to an education phase? How many of them are able to move from an education to prioritization phase? This division would help us to focus more accurately and solve our problems so that we can finally improve the metric that we are looking at. Okay, sorry. So then the second metric, what we call as the conversion metric. This conversion metric is where we are looking at how many customers or how many prospects we are losing. Let's say I take from a lead to an opportunity. How many leads are getting converted into an opportunity? There are 2 subsystems that we're talking about. What is that we are doing in education awareness? What is that? How many are being converted from an education to an opportunity and awareness to education? So these two we are looking to measure. You might have systems to measure this right now, or you might not have, but you can start with very simple Excel's, very simple systems to begin with. But if you track some of these stages, that will really help you as well. So this is what we set up in the accelerator program as to how what you need to measure, how you can track that, and start automating the whole process as well, depending upon where you are. So each of this, again, what each of this conversion metrics would mean is what the list that I provided here. So as we discussed before on the first week also, the retention and expansion are most important pieces if you are looking at a recurring revenue. So within that, one of the big differentiator is upsell, cross-sell, renew and resell. So we quite often miss these pieces together. If you're selling the same stuff to the existing customer, then we call that as a renewal. If you're just renewing it next year. But if you are selling a new offering to the existing customer, then we call that as an upsell. Why we have differentiated is for each of this, we would have a different kinds of playbooks where you can look at and achieve that particular purpose. When you're reaching out to a new department with an existing impact or existing product, then we call that as a resell. Instead of 10 users, now you're going to sell 20 users. Then you're expanding to other offerings of your product into multiple departments. Then you call it as a cross-sell. You do please remember this. This would be useful as you move forward. So finally, we also have this time metric as well. So if you're in one of our earlier presentations, we did mention saying that GTMly is all about going fast and going long. So this is how we do it. How much time does it take for you to go to a win? How can I reduce it? Just to give you a simple number, and probably you might have all gone through this. Let us say you are one of the selected company, you are one of the shortlisted company with whom customer is trying to make the final offer. But there are 3, 4, or 5 people. Generally, you might have 5 meetings, 6 meetings. Each meeting that you can reduce, that will add up significantly to time. Instead of 5 meetings, if I can bring it down to 3 meetings and close it, that increases my probability of winning. That also reduces my amount of time that is required for me to convert that customer. So when you break it down into smaller pieces, these are the advantages that you would end up getting. These are again some of the time metrics that we are looking at. How much longer that you can go with a customer is like delta T8. The length of the contract is a retention, which is a T7. The amount of time you take to onboard a customer, because the lesser the amount of time you take to onboard the customer, the happier the customer would be, and he'll start seeing more immediate value. Okay. So finally, this is again one industry benchmark that we have. So if you are selling a $1,000 product per year, so these are conversion rates. So let's say if you let me just put this numbers just for the. I'm just taking the first one. I'll explain what this actually means as well. Yes. So if I'm selling a $1,000 product, for me to close 5 companies, 5 accounts, 5 companies, I would need 10,000 members, right, prospective members visiting the platform, visiting your website. Each time, if you have 10,000 people, then you get 5% of them converted into leads. And then within that 5%, you get only 10% of them converted into an opportunity. Within that 65% to qualify, and then 15% to commit. Okay. So the smaller, the higher the ACV, the bigger the pain to convert them. So that you need to showcase the more value that you're able to bring to the table. So that can happen if we are able to map the value proposition very, very clearly. Okay. That's it from the second part. Okay. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, we get to the third part of the final part of the webinar.
Bharat, will you share the recording or the slides which you are presenting here? Is that something which can be expected, or?
Yeah, we'll share the recording.
Oh, thank you.
So the whole purpose of the data model is how do you split your entire process into smaller subsystems and track it in the most efficient way so that you can start fixing that smaller problems instead of tackling one big problem. And you fix each area, then you will start seeing a significant improvement in the outcome. Okay. So a lot of you have filled the application forms. We did the onboarding calls. If some of you have missed out on the onboarding calls, I would recommend you guys to fill the onboarding forms, complete the process, and get the call set up. Veena will be in touch with you. If you have any issues in getting the links, please type it in the chat or reach out on WhatsApp groups. Post this, what you can expect. Let me just do a quick run through. Okay. Those of you who filled the profile completely, you'll start having access to reports that we have started building together for you guys. Probably I'll start from the final outcome and then go back, so that it becomes a little easier for you guys to understand. One of the most important things that we are trying to build through GTMly is to offer you playbooks which you can start using them without worrying about anything else. It will give you a monthly playbooks which you can start implementing, whether you are in a pre-launch phase, whether you are in launch phase, or whether you're trying to acquire your first pilot customers or trying to grow your customer base from 10 to 100. You don't need to worry about all the information that I presented in the last 3 weeks. You don't need to worry about what data model that I need to work on, what kind of value proposition canvas that I need to build, what kind of GTM motion that I need to follow. GTMly will give you the final output, what we call as monthly playbooks. No. So here is a sample that I can show you. So this based on the customer profile, based on outcome-driven innovation, based on jobs to be done. There's a lot of science that happens behind, a lot of data that gets integrated, but the final outcome is this. This is where you would see what you need to do on a daily basis, who needs to do what, and what is the outcome of each of these activities. Let's say I put together a playbook for a month, and in this playbook we are looking at what do I need to do on my emails, what do I need to do on my LinkedIn, what do I need to do on WhatsApp campaigns. This is just a sample that I'm showing you. So within the emails, we said, okay, what you need to send on a day 0, what is the objective, what kind of KPIs that we can expect, and is there any specific tone or anything that we're looking at mentioning. Then what is the second email that you need to send? What is the last email that you need to send and when you need to send? So this, for somebody who is at a pre-launch stage, they can do it manually because the numbers would be limited. Even people who are in the launch stage, they can do it manually. We would only give you the execution steps. But for people who are looking to start growing, for them, all of this would be automated, starting from identifying your ICP to identifying data who would be a right fit, and then start executing all of this through various integrations. So I just showed you on the LinkedIn part, and then we're looking at what do we need to do with, I've showed you the email sequences, then I'm showing you what you should be doing on the LinkedIn, what kind of DMs that you can propose, what kind of documents that you can share, what is the value that you can share so that the customer can really feel it and then start relating it to their pains or some of the gains that they're looking at. Most importantly, to address their base functional, social, and emotional jobs. We have to address the functional jobs first, and then we can start addressing the emotional and the social jobs next. Same, sorry. So same as the case with WhatsApp as well. Okay. So once, now let me just go back. So we do, within this program, we do it for one ICP, but as you get subscribed, we'll do it for multiple ICPs. So how does it work is, we start with something called as your end user. Who is the end beneficiary of your product? Let's say I'm looking at a financial analyst. I've just taken up an example. I would say a marketing operational specialist. Within that, we would identify where they would be working, what kind of companies they would be working on, whether they would be working on discrete manufacturing, healthcare, mid-market, or a construction infrastructure company. Then once you select them, it would give you who is that end user that you are looking at. From there, you can start generating various kinds of job statements. Let's say I'm trying to explore this particular persona. Okay, an operations manager. So it would, these are jobs that this particular persona is trying to get done. Okay. They're looking at getting their operational planning done, supply chain orchestration, production scheduling, quality compliance. And this would vary depending upon what kind of ICPs that you're looking at, what kind of verticals that you're looking at, what kind of product is yours. So you can select some of these job statements, and then we'll dig into in which context that they're looking at. Okay. I'm since just for the demo sake, I'm just selecting some random stuff. So based on the selection, this will generate various kinds of scenarios. For example, for a supply chain orchestration, peak demand window, what is the worst case? Severe disruption and missed targets. Best case can be a smooth execution and overachievement. This can be the customer's pain, and this can be the customer's gain at times. Which stage they are in, and where your product can fit in, based on these scenarios, which you can select and which you can rate yourself. The platform automatically builds these statements, the job statements that you are trying to address for a specific persona. Now consider you are working in a healthcare sector and you are looking at selling something for your customers. So there would be a bunch of people that you need to address. There would be end users, there would be influencers, there would be decision makers, there'll be guys called saboteurs who would ensure to derail this whole thing. So for each of them, we need to message, we need to market very, very differently, because their pain points, their gains, their jobs that they're looking to achieve is completely different. So all of this gets automated. The whole exercise that we did today is all automated within the platform. The better the clarity that you can provide in terms of what is that you're offering, the platform picks up everything from there. So I've already showed you the digital audit report last time. This you can generate it once in a month. It gets refreshed once in a month, depending upon your subscription. So you can clearly track what is going right, what is not going right from a digital standpoint, both on the website standpoint, on your SEO side, and also on the social media side as well. So finally, we would be launching something very interesting in the next week or so. We'll keep you informed as to how you can engage with us. So there is a lot more that GTMly would offer, but the end outcome, as most of you are expecting, as we are also expecting, what is the top line that we can add, how many qualified leads that we can help you bring in, what kind of branding that we can offer you both for the company and for the founders. So that's it from my side today. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. So the next few days you'll start, whoever has completed the applications, whoever has meaningful information, we'll start generating some of these reports and then start sharing with you within your logins, which you can verify and move forward.
So Bharat, we have had an interaction. After that, is there any document we need to submit? I have not got any.
No, Devashish. We will. I think we have provided some basic data on the onboarding forms. We'll check and confirm it to you.
Okay.
Okay, guys. I think if we don't have any questions further, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.